Welcome, my name is Jesse and you are listening to The Wake Up Call. This show is about opening your eyes to how you've been living, bringing awareness to the standard you've been operating at, and helping you start living to your full potential. There are two ways I'll help you do this. One, by disciplining your mind, and two, by strengthening your body. It's time to take stock of your current performance and go to the next level. Let's do this. Guys, welcome back to a fresh episode of The Wake Up Call. This is episode 175. Today's podcast, we're going to be talking about golfer's elbow and tennis elbow. If you're unfamiliar with those injuries, or if you've never had them, or if you've never experienced them, you are one lucky individual. I myself have dealt with golfer's elbow before, and it is incredibly painful. It's very frustrating. It's a debilitating kind of injury that, as small as it is, impacts quite a lot of things that you can and can't do in the weight room, but also just in your day-to-day life. Now, you wouldn't think about it. You wouldn't think really that an elbow would play havoc on, what you do, whether it's, in the gym or your day-to-day life, but it can be quite frustrating and it can be quite persistent if you don't take care of it and address it early. So it's one of these little things. A little niggle turns into a big niggle, turns into a persistent and a chronic injury that just kind of lingers and hangs around. Now, if you've never had golfer's or tennis elbow, I feel very jealous of that fact. But if you have had it, or if maybe you're experiencing it right now, I'm going to try and help you out with some strategies and some solutions to it. Now, before I go into this, I am by no means a physical therapist, physiotherapist, exercise physiologist or anything like that. I'm going to be talking about my own experience with golfer's elbow, and also what I understand from the anatomy and kind of the diagnosis and the symptoms and the causes behind it. So I've done a lot of research, I've done a lot of, reading about this stuff. And like I said, I've had to do it because I've experienced it myself. So it's not a fucking theory for me. It's something that I've actually dealt with. Now, when it comes to elbow pain, there are two main types of elbow pain. They are golfer's elbow and tennis elbow. Tennis elbow is what is known as lateral epicondylitis. So that's pain on the outside of the elbow. And then you have golfer's elbow, which is known as medial epicondylitis, pain on the inside of the elbow. All right. These two injuries are traditionally termed as overuse injuries. And in a sense, they are. But what I like to think of them as an imbalance type of injury. And the distinction is quite small, but it's quite significant also. And the reason I say that is because when people hear the term overuse, they immediately think that the solution or the remedy to fix it is either A, to rest and do nothing, or B, to, stretch it out and try and loosen the muscle off. Okay? And in some cases, that can be part of the strategy and part of the solution to fix it, but not always. And if it does provide any short-term, pain relief or reduced sensitivity, it's not always lasting. It's not always a permanent solution. And this is especially true if what you do is after, I did a bit of stretching and I rested for a little bit and it seemed to clear it up. And then you just go straight back to what you were doing before. The chances are pretty high that that thing's going to rear its ugly head again. Because if what you did initially caused an injury, whether it's golfer's elbow or tennis elbow, if you have just a brief rest to settle it down, if it's a little bit inflamed, and you just pick back up where you left off, the chances are that you're basically just going to end up where you were before, injured and with a sore elbow again. And it doesn't really matter how you got the injury, whether it's, from actually playing too much tennis or too much golf, or if it's something else. The fact is you have pissed off muscles, tendons, and joints. So a bit of inflammation, a bit of irritation, and a key word here is sensitivity as well. So, growing up, I got some pearls of wisdom from my mum, and one of them was, if I would poke something or prod at it and be like, hey, mum, my arm or my leg or whatever hurts when I do this. Well, then don't do that fucking thing. So if you've got a bruise and you keep poking and prodding at it, all you're going to do is piss it off and irritate it more and more. So first and foremost, don't do that. Like, pain is a sign that something is not right within the body. So don't keep poking the bear, basically. All right. Now, the muscles on the side, so the inside or the outside of your arm, uh, if you do experience this elbow pain, sometimes those muscles can remain a little bit puffy, even sensitive to touch. And worst case scenario, you get this real sharp shooting pain to your elbow when used. And like I said, this is something that I've experienced firsthand. When I was young, at about 20 years old, I got some very, very severe elbow pain. Okay. I got that medial epicondylitis. And the way I got it was very simple. I was basically doing too much bicep work. I mean, my arms are fucking huge. Jokes. But I got this pain, this golfer's elbow, when I was doing too many preacher curls. There's an exercise in the gym, it's called preacher curl, where basically you are bent slightly forward, your arms are resting on a pad, and you have an easy bar, which is a curled bar, and you basically, a curved bar, I should say, and you do bicep curls with it on an angle. So you're on a bit of a decline in essence. And I would do these preacher curls over and over again because they made me feel good. They made me feel and look really good. I loved the exercise. It gave me an incredible pump in the arms, and I could just feel like my arms and my biceps and my forearms were inflating. So, as a 20-year-old kid, it's like, fuck, my arms are puffing up here. I feel pretty good here. I'm going to rinse and repeat and do that exercise because it's producing the goods. It's, getting gains. And it came at a cost. I got to the point where the lowering portion of the preacher curl would be so incredibly painful, like just this sharp fucking stabbing pain on the inside of my elbows. And this is going, this is over 10 years ago, and I still remember it. I love the exercise so much. So I was in this kind of tug of war. It's like, I love this exercise. It's producing results, but fuck, my elbow hurts. And it came at this cost where I kind of had to weigh up, the cost benefit analysis side of things. It's like, yeah, it's making my arms bigger. I'm feeling more confident as a result of that. But fuck, man, that's really uncomfortable. That is extremely painful to lower the weight down. The inside of my elbow was just like on fire. That's like the pain and the sensation. It would just like feel really hot, and each rep became progressively worse and worse. And, as a 20-year-old, whatever I was, I tried to work around it and I tried to work through it to no avail. It didn't work. So eventually I became smart enough where I basically just removed that exercise from my program for a little while, and I replaced it with other exercises that didn't flare up my elbow or piss it off. And eventually I got out of pain. And sometimes it takes a little bit of that going through pain to realize how to get out of pain and also stay out of pain. But the main reason that I got that pain on the inside of my elbow, it's not just due to load or volume, although it can be, but it's because I wasn't training the opposing muscle group. All right. So like I said, tennis elbow is the pain on the outside of your elbow, lateral epicondylitis. Golfer's elbow is medial epicondylitis, muscles on the inside. So even if I demonstrate this, lateral, tennis elbow, pain on the outside, my palm faces down. And then if I go palm facing up, that's medial epicondylitis. That little change in hand position, pronating versus supinating, palm up versus palm down, can be the difference between getting a lot of pain, managing pain, and staying out of pain. So these are some things to look at when you're managing golfer's elbow or tennis elbow. It's not strictly, and it's not solely due to an increase in load or volume. Sometimes it can be actually to do with your hand positioning. So that's what we're going to talk about now, and how to mitigate and remove some of these issues and a bit of inflammation as well. So like I said, I got to the point where I kind of had to, swallow my pride and my ego to a degree and get rid of an exercise that I really like to get myself out of pain. And this is the thing. If you train the flexor muscles, the muscles that bend, you need to work the extensors, the muscles that straighten. So if you use a supinated grip, you should also be using a pronated grip. So palms up and then also palms down. If you train the muscles on the front of your body, you have to make sure that you train the muscles on the back of your body. You've got to make sure that they are not neglected or left behind. And here's the deal. Very simple. I'll keep it really simple for you guys, okay? A supinated grip, where your palms are facing you, uses more forearm flexors and biceps, okay? When you use a pronated grip, palms facing away from you, you're using more forearm flexors, okay? That's a little bit of the distinction that you need to make between the two. Supinated grip is more forearm flexors, okay? That's the muscles on the palm side. And then if you go pronated, you're using the muscles more on the back side of your hand. So simply rotating your wrists can have a huge effect on the muscles used and the strain that you place upon your muscles, your tendons, and ultimately your joints. All right. This is why I recommend you use many different grips in your strength training routine. Don't only use overhand. Don't only use underhand. Don't only use a neutral grip. I want you to use different grips. I want you to use many tools: dumbbells, barbells, kettlebells, sandbags, single arm, double arm. Change up your grip width and also use various hand positions. Another way to combat golfer's elbow and tennis elbow is targeted exercises to the fingers, hands, and forearm muscles. All right. Don't just stick to one particular grip. Don't just stick to one particular exercise. Don't just stick to one particular tool. Variety is the spice of life here. So you don't need to change every exercise you do. Sometimes literally going from, I've been doing overhand grip for 4 weeks. Okay, now I'm going to go underhand grip for 4 weeks. Okay, for 4 weeks I was doing a narrow grip press. Now I'm going to go for a bit of a standard grip or even a wider grip press. Things like that is a novel way to keep training interesting, but also keep pressure off of your joints and make sure you're getting a nice balance and a nice, what's the word I'm looking for? A sharing, I suppose, of the workload. Does that make sense? Because if you do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again, you're bound to run into a problem at some point in time, especially if you are using the progressive overload principle and are pushing yourself, or you're chasing, extra kilos on the bar. You're trying to get stronger. You're trying to lift heavier weights. It does take a toll on your body. And there are points in time where, hey, your body just says, yeah, enough's enough. I just can't keep up with the demands anymore. And you've got to do something about it. All right. So, as I was saying, another way to combat, that tennis elbow or that golfer's elbow is targeted exercises to the fingers, the hands, and those forearm muscles. So something that you can build a lot of volume and get some daily exposure to. And this is the thing, frequency is key. You need to do it on a consistent basis. Not so much that you get DOMs or muscle soreness, you're like, oh man, my forearms are absolutely smoked. But you want a daily dose. So a little bit, a lot, goes a long way. And this is where something simple like a radial or ulnar deviation, where you're working this motion here, where you're flexing and extending on a lateral kind of plane. Okay, so you're going up and down. If I had a hammer in my fist and I let the hammer drop down and then I pull it back up, you can see the muscles of the forearm actually working there. Okay, so you've got radial and ulnar deviation. So something like a club hammer, a small hammer, or even a sledgehammer, or even something like light dumbbells works a treat there. You can do something like band extensions. You grab a lackey band and you open and close the fingers. So it's like you're trying to splay and spread the band. The band that I have here in my hand that I'm just practicing with, these are called extensor hand bands, and I got mine from Grip and Lift Australia. And you can see the muscles are contracting there as well. You can also use slosh pipes. I made a few slosh pipes weighing different loads. So you go from a smaller to a larger and a thicker, wider diameter PVC pipe, and you fill it with water. Not all the way up, but enough so that when you turn it, the water travels from one side to the other. Okay, so simple things you can do like that will challenge the demands placed upon all of those muscles around your hands, your fingers, and your forearms, and either side of the elbow. That's really what we're looking for. Don't poke the bear if you've got, you know, if you've got, the golfer's elbow. Don't keep doing, the exercises that piss off those muscles. You need to work the opposing area. And again, don't just stretch. While stretching feels good, it may not actually be doing you any good long term. All right. So, but Jesse, if it feels good, I should probably do more of it. Yeah. I read an article years ago from Dr. Andrew Locke. He says that, that's a lot like masturbation too. While it feels good, it's not going to give you a long term benefit by doing it all the time. So, yeah, proceed with caution with the stretching side of things. And don't just rest and don't just train through it. You need a multi-discipline approach. Sometimes stretch, okay? Rest a little bit. But again, you're trying to promote blood flow to that area and around that joint without pissing it off. That's the key we're trying to chase. So how do we fix this problem once and for all? Like I said, a targeted approach. You must first identify the site of pain. So where is the pain? Is it on the inside or is it on the outside of your elbow? You have to be able to clearly articulate and identify where it is. Then we need to understand the reason why. Once we understand, okay, this will probably be the cause, whether, like I said, it is that muscular imbalance, we then target the cause, not the symptom. If you have a tennis elbow or a golfer's elbow, you need to find the reason why you have it and then target the cause, not the symptom. I'm not just trying to get rid of pain for a short time. I'm trying to get rid of pain permanently. So if that means that we have to do particular exercises that work the opposite muscle group and maybe avoid that strong area for a little bit, okay, cool, let's do that. But let's understand the mechanism behind why you got hurt in the first place. What has actually caused this injury to occur? All right. So take home this point. Don't punish strength, punish weakness. If you have golfer's elbow or if you have tennis elbow, understand this. You are overly strong on one side and you are understrong on the other. So work the weakness, but don't diminish where you are dominant. You're dominant for a reason. Maybe it's to help you in your sport. Maybe it's in your day-to-day life. You use a certain grip or a certain tool or a certain hand position for a reason, and you're good at it for a reason. So don't take that strength away from yourself, but build upon the weakness and make that get up to the level, or at least along that kind of same playing field as your strength. That right there should give you a pretty good guide of what to do if/when you experience inner or outer elbow pain. Muscular balance is the name of the game here, and that's really the key to joint health. If you push, make sure you pull. If you work the front, make sure you work the back. If you work the flexor muscles, make sure you work the extensors. Because muscle balance and structural balance can only occur when you account for volume, load, and the intensity of your training program, and also what you do during an entire week. And this is something I've learned more and more as a coach. As I progress and I do this more and more, I gain experience. It's not just about what happens inside the weight room. It's what happens for the other, 100 plus hours of your week. Whether it includes, you playing, oh, hey, Jesse, I've actually started playing golf. I play 3 rounds of golf a week. Oh, right. Okay, we're going to probably, look at how we modify the training then to make sure we're not going to smash those elbows. Maybe you've just started taking tennis. Or maybe you are a tennis athlete. Maybe you're actually a tennis player and you hit thousands of balls over and over again every single week. All right, we're going to take that into consideration for sure. Because I don't need to work some areas because they're already getting worked thousands of fucking reps a week. Maybe you ride a motorbike. All right, maybe you've got that throttle pulled back and it's just sitting there. Like I recently had a guy and he told me that he's raced dirt bikes before and he did like the Dakar Rally course. And I was like, fuck, that's pretty hectic. So you're on the bike for a long period of fucking time then. Maybe you go mountain bike riding. One of my students, he does enduro racing. And it took me a while to kind of figure out the demands of that sport and how intense it is, like the trails and how quick and tactile and um, the dexterity required for the fingers to be, pedaling and then being able to, hit the brakes, turn, go up and down, different terrain and rocks and all sorts of, inclines and declines. It's quite demanding, especially on the fingers. Like you've got to have your hands on that trigger ready to fucking, go and stop at a moment's notice, like instantaneously. Maybe it's martial arts. If you're doing jujitsu, if you're doing something that requires a lot of grappling, a lot of, holding onto a gi, all right, that's going to, definitely have a part to play in terms of the strength and conditioning training. Because if you're already getting a lot of pulling, trying to keep somebody close, or maybe you're doing some pushing to keep somebody away, that's going to definitely dictate how many sets and reps that we do. Or maybe it's just straight up weightlifting. Maybe you just lift weights a couple of days a week. Okay, cool. Maybe you're like I was when I was younger and you just loved training the mirror muscles. All you like to do is, chest, biceps, abs. And you don't do any back work, and you certainly don't do any leg work. Well, if that's the case, I'm definitely going to mix up your training to make sure that we're getting both the structural and muscular balance that we need so that we're not pissing off the elbows. Or if we're doing a lot of pressing, maybe it's going to lead to pissing off the shoulders. Does that make sense? So it's not always just one thing and one solution. We have to look at the whole picture there. I know I've gone down a couple of different rabbit holes, but it's because injuries can be one of these things. It takes as long as it takes to recover. And the more compliant you are with the rehab, the faster you're going to get out of pain. And also, the longer you're going to stay out of pain. And I know this, again, from first-hand experience. I've had so many fucking injuries. Right now, I'm looking at my wedding band on my finger. I think I have a broken finger. I need to go and get it scanned. But it's one of these ones, if you don't deal with it, it's just going to linger. It's just going to stay there. Nothing's going to happen. It's not going to fucking fix itself. So you need to be the one to fix it. And I've given you some strategies to hopefully work with it. I hope that makes sense. I hope it gives you an understanding of, like I said, that inner or that outer elbow pain. Everything contributes to your joints and the structural integrity of them, especially in the weight room. Like most of what we do involves holding onto a weight, holding onto a bar, holding onto a dumbbell, holding onto a chin-up bar, suspending yourself with your own body weight. And this is something I can't even do at the moment. I can't even make a fist. But I understand the correlation between grip strength, inflamed joints, and how to get out of pain. Because like I said, I've done it before and I know physios. I've got people in my close circle of friends who have helped me get out of pain and understand these things to a greater level. So then now I can kind of pass that information and knowledge forward to you guys listening. So I understand that everything that you do contributes to the overall picture. It's not just what you do inside of the weight room a few days a week. It's what you spend the most amount of time every single week as well. So if you do martial arts, understand that that's going to have an impact on your hands, your fingers, your elbows. And also that what you do is going to determine how it pulls or tugs on your joints. So pissed off elbows can take some time to heal. And my hope is for you guys and girls listening, if you don't have golfers or tennis elbow and you've never had it, keep it that way. Use the information and the advice that I've given you and actually put it into practice, because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Like I said, I've had that fucking golfer's elbow before, and it is extremely painful, and I don't wish it on you. But like I said, if you do start to get that little bit of a grab or a pull or a sharp sensation on the inside or outside of your elbow, get onto it straight away. You've got some options. Radial and ulnar deviation. Use a club hammer, sledgehammer, or light dumbbells. Okay? You can do band extensions. Grab a set of bands from Grip and Lift and use them. Do it in the car. If somebody's driving you somewhere, just do some reps. All right? If you're just sitting down having some food, maybe get 5 reps. Have another spoonful or mouthful of whatever you're eating. Slosh pipes. So simple. Go to Bunnings. It's my favorite place to get equipment. Jokes, kind of. But it's one of these things, once you kind of learn what you need and how to manage injuries, you'll kind of build your own kind of kit. This little kind of bag full of tools and tricks that you can just pull out and use on a needs basis. You don't have to use them all the fucking time, but it's there if and when you need it. So that's my advice for you guys. Get onto it early, all right? And don't punish strength, punish weakness. If you've got muscles that are strong, they're strong for a reason. But have a look what's happening on the other side. So if the muscles on the inside are sore, all right, probably need to work the muscles on the outside and vice versa. Okay? So that's my take on dealing with golfers and tennis elbow. I hope it provides some insights into the injuries and how you can stay pain-free. Or if you are in pain, hopefully help you get out of pain because, yeah, it's a bitch and I don't want you staying in pain for long. So there you go, guys. I hope it's helpful. If it is, pay the fee. Share this to your Facebook profile. Share it on your Instagram stories. Send it to a colleague. If you know somebody who is dealing with elbow pain, I've given you some really targeted information and strategies to get rid of it. Just press the share button, copy the link, share it, send it to a friend on WhatsApp, put it in your fucking, football chat group, whatever. And I will be eternally grateful. So thank you for listening for the past 25, 26 minutes. I appreciate it. And I hope this helps you or somebody that you care about avoid and stay out of pain with golfers and tennis elbow. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye for now. If you loved the Wake Up Call, found it entertaining, or got some benefit out of listening, I would appreciate you helping me to spread the word. Please share it with a friend or on social media so that you can pay it forward and give someone else the opportunity to improve themselves like you just have. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon for another episode.